Welcome back, guys, to Let's Talk About It. We are your lovely hosts, Gile,
Radile,
and Kuto. This podcast is basically three girls walking through life, sharing our thoughts and ideas. We start discussions, ask the whats, hows, and whys of life, and then we talk about it. Ora, how are you doing today?
doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Kuto, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
As you can see, we have a guest to my left. Mama, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, and you guys?
Very good.
Great.
Well, first of all and most, happy Mother's Day to my wonderful mother and to all the mothers out there.
Yes.
I hope you were treated very special and were blessed with your wonderful children. Okay, so as you guys know, we recently started a brand new series called Mental Check. This series is all about our thoughts, our minds, and the ideas that shape who we are. Sometimes we talk about things we don't normally say out loud. The questions we ask ourselves when we're alone, the thoughts that show up late at night, and the things that make us reflect a little deeper. And today's topic is I'm fine. You know when you ask someone who clearly does not look okay, how are you? And they give a quick I'm fine, just to move past the conversation. Because almost everyone has experienced this moment. Sometimes it feels easier to say I'm fine than to explain what we're actually feeling. But today's episode is very special because we are not having this conversation alone. Today we're joined by our very special guest on the podcast, someone incredibly important to us. She is our mother, a wife, an accountant, an entrepreneur, and someone deeply passionate about healing, growth, wellness, and mental health awareness. Most importantly, she is someone who has walked through difficult seasons and gained wisdom, strength, and perspective through her own healing journey. So today we wanted to create a space not just for a conversation, but for honesty, reflection, vulnerability, and healing. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's really my pleasure to be here, to be invited on this couch, and to share this moment with you guys.
Now, before we get into today's conversation, we just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to our listeners. We have 4 questions. These are very much like broad questions, but introspective, just to kind of give us like a quick shot of who you are. So the first question is, who are you?
I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a woman of God, and I'm a bubbly somebody, sometimes crazy, but that's all in one thing. That's me there.
Okay, and where are you from?
Okay, I was born in Shovel. I think I'll say south of Gauteng. I grew up there. My parents were from there, and they met in that town that is called Sheffield. I grew up there and moved around a bit, but around the Val. So I'm from the Val Triangle, and yeah, that is about it.
So what did you say, what has your journey looked like?
What you?
Like your life journey, if you can explain it in like a few words or a picture.
Interesting, I must say. For me, life has been a discovery, and it still is a discovery of myself, more than anything of myself. Anything that I have went through in life, it was to reveal more of who I am. So that's basically what I will say. It has been an amazing journey with ups and downs, but it has been quite amazing so far. I can't fault it.
And the last question is, what message or story do you feel called to share with people?
We are not perfect, and we must stop striving and wanting to achieve perfection as human beings. But we have to take all of who we are in any facet of revelation you get to see of yourself. I meant that musically.
Guys, I'm so sorry, man. Our neighbor's having a worship session, right? We are trying so hard to keep pressing on because they've been having this for at least 2 hours. We can't postpone this any longer. I thought by now they'll be done, but it's getting fired up. So please forgive.
But it's part of life.
Forgive. It's part of life. Forgive
It's not
us.
perfect. This is not a perfect thing. But it is happening. What can we say?
Yo, I never singing, guys. Yo, thank you so much. Okay, we have a new segment of our show called Stats and Facts, where we just break down a little bit of some stats that we found and some facts about the message we're talking about. So actually, take us away for stats and facts.
Yes. Okay. Studies show that saying I'm fine when struggling has become almost universal. Social script, even when people are silently battling things internally. The average adult says that they are fine around 14 times a week, but only a small percentage of people actually mean it. Over half of people admit they expect the answer to "How are you?" to be dishonest. Many people avoid being honest about their emotions because they fear judgment, rejection, vulnerability, or becoming a burden to others. Some of the most common reasons people say I'm fine, even when they are not include it feels easier than explaining. They feel like people are not genuinely interested. They fear judgment, wanting privacy, or simply trying to follow social norms. And today we want to talk about why we do that, what it means when people are silently struggling, and how healing can begin when we finally become honest about what is going on. So, for the first question I have for Dorah, have you ever gone through a season where what you said didn't reflect what was actually happening inside?
Yes, I have. I think after the passing of my dad and my father-in-law, I wanted so much to say I'm fine. I'm okay. I can do this. But that was not the truth. I was actually, I felt burnout. I felt I'm not being able to do simple things that I enjoy to do, waking up, making food, looking after my family. I find such small tasks like that, feeling like it's gonna take a lot out of me, and I felt I don't have anything to give. So it was the first time, I must say, it was the first time I realized that I'm fine was not true. Not that I have not used the word before when I was not feeling it, but it was the first time I was aware, self-aware that I am not fine.
Anybody wants to share maybe a little bit?
I think it's sure. I think it's very interesting, that question. I'm fine, and I think I'm still on it because it's known to be a word commonly used, even in conversation where you're just interacting with someone for a short period of time. If you're greeting them, you'd ask them how they're doing. But also, I feel like your intent is not to actually find out how that person is actually doing. It's just to have a conversation starter.
Of politeness.
Or to be
Because we are taught
polite.
like
Yes.
how are you? Good morning.
Yes.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
the response always it's already you want. You're not asking them really. You don't want to know what's going on.
It's as if it's a formulated
Yes.
response.
Yes.
So like if you ask ChatGPT a
Yes.
question, it will first like encourage you, and then it will tell you what to actually do. But for those who are meta, ChatGPT uses a pause button. If you're not, then hey, this is not the best response for you. But it's a formulated, generated question that people always ask themselves, or ask one another at least. How are you doing? And I feel like there's no authenticity anymore when it comes to that question. It's also very hard to gauge if someone really wants to know how you're doing or if they just want to be polite. So I think it's actually amazing to be able to distinguish the difference in asking how someone is. But also I think it encourages me to be more intentional when it comes to that question. I think we use it obviously to be polite, but at the end of the day, you really don't want to know how that person is.
But think about it. I just want to bring another element. Think about it in terms of our culture, because in our culture we say dumelang. Okay, we are plural. We say in a way it's like we are seeing you. Dumelang is like I see you. Okay, and when we say lekai, in our culture, we will say rete. But what does that mean? It means we are here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are not asking about where you're going.
We're saying
Where
hi.
are you? Are you there?
Where it's like hi.
Yes.
Where are you?
Yes.
We are here. You know.
You are
And in English, it's hi. How are you?
You hear what I'm saying?
So it is.
So maybe when we say we are fine in our country, we mean we are
we are
here.
here. Yeah. But
We are here.
but I actually wanted to say, I think it is a very beautiful thing she said that I wanted to comment. Is she said, I use the phrase I'm fine, but it wasn't until that moment that she was conscious of, I'm not using this phrase right. I'm saying, but I'm not meaning. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I think that, look, I do it sometimes where I'm like, especially if it's like we're busy, I need something from her. Like sometimes I'll be on the phone with my dad, I'll be like, hello Papa, how are you? I don't care. I'm just trying to be polite so that I can ask him what I want. How are you, Papa? I'm good. Great. Papa, you know what I mean? Because, we gotta go. But, in certain cases, there are people who actually do care about you, that do ask you, Kuto, Dorah, Oratile, how are you?
But are you
On a
fine
cup of
also?
coffee with friends, and it's genuinely they want to know. And she said something where in the list of our stats and facts, there are people who say I'm fine because they don't want to be an emotional burden to someone. What they feel that this thing that they have, it's too big, it's too heavy, it's too much to unpack right now with you. And what if you don't want to unpack that with me? And so I feel that yes, our culture and our society, yes, there is places where, it's socially a norm, but there's rooms where there are people who do want to know how you are. And sometimes we don't want to burden other people. And so, or we want to keep privacy, so we say,
I don't think,
I'm fine.
I think it's few people who say I'm fine, but us they know they're not fine in reality. Many times we think we are fine. I said to you, this time I was self-aware. It had to start with self. For self to say, I'm not fine. Because once you take self and you accept it, you are ready to move to a stage where you get help. So many times people say I'm fine out of the fact that they're not even aware they're not fine.
But I think also people don't understand the depth of the question. They don't understand what I'm fine means. Because if you are not fine, you need to think about not being fine. You need to know what is not fine. You need to be able to identify the problem. But I
people
think
willing
fine.
are
It's like
willing
an
to-
automated
response.
Yeah.
You know, it's like something that you don't even think
You
about.
think.
It just
Mm.
comes out. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even processing the whole. You're not even thinking about how
You really
feeling.
are.
Yeah.
It just comes out like, okay, I'm fine. Because it's something that we
I'm not
learned
good, I'm
for
not
the
bad.
longest time.
Yeah.
It's a
Even
norm.
that how are you doing? I always say I'm good. How are you?
Yeah,
Something
I didn't
that
even think about it. I
always
just
say,
said,
I
I'm
don't
good,
ever
how are you?
think-
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just a routine.
Mm.
I don't think this. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Why is admitting that you are struggling such an important step in your healing journey?
Sure.
Because you can't get help if you don't admit there's a problem. Why will you seek help? Think of, do people just go to the doctor for just going, I want to visit doctor's room? No, you go there because you had accepted I have a headache. I have this constant headache. Because even when you get to the doctor, he's going to ask, what is the problem?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Then you have to now tell the doctor your diagnosis. Okay? So mental health is the same. You can't seek help for your mental health if you don't admit there is an issue. So you first have to recognize there's an issue. So once you realize there's an issue, then you say, I'm not fine. Okay? Then you are able to now seek help. So as long as you are fine, you don't see the problem in accepting there is a problem, how are you going to seek help? And because when even you get to a therapy or a therapist, he's going to ask you, why are you here? What brought you here? You can say, I wanted to visit your office. Okay? Then, you know, you have to say, you know what, I feel this type of way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't have a vocab for what's going on, but you are aware something is not right. I'm not fine. So that's when your healing will come, because now you first you acceptance is big, then you seek help, then you start getting into the getting a healthy journey. You cannot be in that journey until you accept something needs to change.
I feel like as well, it's so. I always wanna like tell you that is the hardest part of the journey for
No,
me.
it is. It is.
To say to someone,
It is.
I'm not okay. You know,
Also-
even admitting to yourself.
Let me tell you the hardest one as well. The hardest one for me was I knew something was not right. I seek help. But when I was told what is wrong, I didn't want what's wrong.
Sure.
Or acceptance, or
It's another acceptance. Okay,
Or
the
the
first
second one, it's an acceptance
yes,
and an
the first
acceptance.
one is say something is not right. Okay, you seek professional help. You say, doctor, I'm not okay. Then the doctor diagnoses you now. Says, you are having a problem with this. Then I don't want.
You don't want the diagnosis.
No, I don't want the diagnosis. I said, no, that's not my diagnosis.
Sure. But why do you think? Why do you think that you struggled so much with accepting this diagnosis?
The stigma around the diagnosis, because when you are told you are suffering from depression, you first look at your life. You say, I'm a happy person. I have a full life. I have this. I have this. You have reasons to fight this diagnosis, because in your mind this diagnosis doesn't, because you have a certain what can I say? You have a certain way of looking at that diagnosis. Or people who are suffering from depression. To you, people who are suffering who has depression, these people who are sleeping the whole day. There's a picture you have of that
What
diagnosis
depression
looks like in your head.
Yeah.
So now you are trying to reconcile what the doctor is saying and what you know of that type of disease. So you are fighting the two.
Yo.
Okay? So now it's another leg, because for me that was the war. I didn't want to go to that hospital. Then he said, you need to go to a hospital. I said, no, I don't have a problem. No, I don't have I said I have a problem to the doctor. No, I don't have a problem. You know, mental health is a tricky one. It's very tricky, and I can understand the stigma around it, and I can understand misunderstanding actually. And there's a more of misunderstanding where mental health is, and there's people still needs to be educated about mental health, you know. But I'm hoping we will live in a world where mental health will be more like people going to a doctor and not being ashamed to go to a doctor and say, doctor, there's something going on with my body. Because your emotion being unhealthy, it's reality. It's a reality. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing
You can't
to be
function.
ashamed of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And there's professionals, people who are there to assist you in that journey. Really, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I think there's so much shame and guilt in that area, to a point of that is why I was fighting the diagnosis, because how can I be depressed? My life is full. I'm a Christian woman. Must I pray these things off? They go away. Jesus will help me with these things.
Yeah.
So again, it's a lot of dynamics. It's how we grew up, your Christian belief, or any belief, you know, where you think you have a fuller life. You know, you look at your life and say, I have a fuller life, and why can I be going through this? Exactly. So that was the biggest thing for me to accept, and I wanted healing my own way. You know, I wanted healing my own way. They said I must stay minimum of 14 days to the maximum of 21 days in the hospital. I said no. Why should I must stay 2 days? Because I'm not sick. You know, so I phoned the hospital. I'm fighting with everybody. I'm not sick. I called my daughter. I said, look at me. Do I look depressed? Do I look?
You had to say no.
No.
You look okay.
He says, no, Mama, there's nothing wrong. But you know what I liked? I like Vicky. I have a friend, Vicky. Vicky called me that day and he said to me, Dorah, and me and my husband, we just were diagnosed depressed. He said, we have depression. And Dorah, you know us. How can we be depressed, you know? And he says to me, just go. You have nothing to lose by just going there and finding out what is wrong. You know? And he said, I know you are not depressed, but just go. And he said to me, be careful of labels. And that was a big thing that she said to me. She said, don't label yourself. Don't allow labels, but go there and see. It won't hurt, you know. And indeed, I went there. But before I go there, I went to the doctor's offices and I told the secretary, you better take me out of that hospital in 2 days. And she said to me, people want to be booked there because it's like a hotel. I said, listen, I can book myself a hotel instead of the hotel.
Yes.
I'm not scared of staying at the hotel alone. So I'm not going to go to a place where people have issues and
you have this full life.
you know. And I went there and I got there on a Sunday, and in my head I was still fighting that truth. And Monday I was still fighting the truth. Monday I saw my psychologist and we spoke about a bit about my mom and stuff, and he says, we spoke a bit, and I saw my psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist, the bit we talked about, she said to me, I think you must attend forgiveness course. And in my heart, I said, I'm a Christian woman. I did forgiveness a long time. Why must I forgive people?
Wait, can I just say something? Right now you spoke about labels.
Yes.
That Vicky told you don't label yourself.
Yes.
So funny. You already had labels.
Yes.
Like I'm listening to you, even the healing journey, you were rejecting it
Yes.
because of a label.
Yes.
I am
Yes.
a Christian woman, I have a full life.
Yes.
It's all these things she was
Yes.
telling herself.
Yes.
You were subconsciously,
Yes.
these labels were rejecting because they go against what you already labeled yourself.
Because again, what am I labeling mental health in my head?
Yo. So, like, I'm just saying, like, listening to this is almost as if you're saying, like, to go into the healing journey, you must be naked.
Definitely.
You must be willing to
You
be
must be.
stripped down,
Yes.
to be almost clothed into a new skin, because you can't walk in with
No,
all
you can't.
this you have,
You
the
can't.
labels you have.
Also, you don't understand mental health. The label you have of mental health is not the truth. It's just a label that you have called it to be, but it's not the truth. What you understand of depression is not true. You think you understand it, you don't understand what mental health is. Okay, so my journey in that was me refusing and resisting. The only time I could accept it is when now I'm sitting in this hospital and I'm waiting. Now I'm gonna leave by Wednesday. I'm thinking all the thoughts of leaving. And I had the voice of God clearly. God showed up because God speaks in Man, people are worshiping. It's a Saturday. It's Women's Day. People are in the spirit, Rakile. Amen.
Now, Mama, they are talking to the moon.
What am I saying?
They are singing, talking to the moon.
Hi, guys. Now, maybe the viewers are not listening. Viewers, you're not hearing it. You're hearing us. It's us who are hearing them. But you know what? Let's go on.
Sorry.
They're talking to them.
So you say it was Tuesday, it was Wednesday, and
It was Monday night.
No, you said it was not Tuesday, Wednesday. You're thinking about leaving.
Yes.
Yes, and
And
then
then
God speaks to you because God
Yes.
speaks to you in your
Yes.
head.
I have a relationship with God that we speak.
Yes.
And God speaks to me. And God says to me, Dorah, you are here because you've been sick for too long.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sick. Yes, you've been sick for too long. And you are here in this place to get healing. You need healing, and this place is going to help you. This is the place I chose for you to come and get healing. Okay? So now I'm like, okay, I'm not sick. But okay, God says I'm sick. Okay, let me listen. Let me open up myself and see what's really wrong with me. Why am I here? Because you remember I'm fighting. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm saying I'm not supposed to be here. But okay, what if I just let go and say why and find out why am I here? You know, not I don't think I should be here. I don't want to be here. But go to it from a place of saying, okay, let me find out why am I here?
Sure.
Right? And I start now being receptive. From Sunday, I was fighting the treatment. I was fighting
Defensive.
exactly that I'm not supposed to be here. I don't want to be here. And I changed that whole thing and I said, let me find out. Let me find out. Okay. It's again Vicky's words. Find it out. You have nothing to lose. You're here. Alright? And then I started opening myself up and I started seeing and I attended in the hospital, in the mental health hospital. You see so many professions. In a day you can see about 5 doctors. You see your psychiatrist, which they prescribe medication for you. You have your psychologists, who, and everybody speaks to you. Everybody speaks to you. Like you unfold your thoughts. They go deeper into your thoughts. They go deeper. They ask you questions. They go deeper into how you think about things. And it's funny when you are allowed to unfold your thoughts, you'll be shocked at what you will discover of your thoughts. Sure. Many times we think we understand our thoughts. We think
We don't know what's going on in there.
Time to think. I think that is why a lot of times in a mental hospital they will say journal your thoughts, because when you journal, you are allowing your thoughts to unfold. Okay. When you are busy, you are thinking one thought and you are acting on it immediately. But when you are sitting still and you allow a thought to come and you unfold the fullness of it. Okay, I'm thinking, for example, let's say you are sitting and you say, I feel I'm hungry. You'll be surprised if you go deeper and say, why do you feel hungry? You just ate you might find that no, I'm not hungry, I'm thirsty. Because you allow the thought to unfold. But if you act on it, you might go and eat, but you just ate.
Yeah.
You didn't allow your mind to really digest what you just thought. It's just a thought that came into your mind and you act upon it. And many of us, we live our life like that. Okay? So in that hospital, they allow you to unfold your thoughts. Really. Because then you are able to see this is a dangerous thought. You are able to say, what am I thinking? What is this thing I'm thinking? So you see quite a lot of doctors, and sometimes you can speak the whole day, you can speak one thing with 5 different people, but if you look at it, we're speaking about one thing. You went to clinical psychologist, spoke to a clinical psychologist, you saw an occupational therapist, you saw your psychiatrist, you saw your psychologist, you saw a social worker in one day. You saw these people in different angles, and they were actually allowing you to process your thoughts, to really process your thoughts, and really pause and think and process what you are thinking. Then you start unfolding your thoughts, and it's funny. You start to see how dangerous your thoughts are.
Sure.
You start seeing how you've been thinking wrong things for a while.
I want to use or not use, but kind of ask a question, present something to say. You want to explain to me how almost like your mind is like a room or a cupboard, right? Now, walk me through these people who are talking to you. They are helping you open this cupboard. And what are they doing? Are they helping you sort out the things? Are they helping you to say, look, you maybe don't need this thought, throw it away, you need this one, or give this away, or what are they doing with your thoughts? How are they helping you sort the good thoughts from the bad, and maybe equipping you to be able to do that for yourself?
Okay, so we have a lot of discussion. You have one-on-one discussion with your therapist or your psychologist, and then we have group sessions where you do something with occupational therapist or a clinical psychologist. But you guys, you do it in a group session. So in a group session, sometimes it continues something you had in the morning with a psychologist. Okay, psychologist will be asking you questions randomly. Tell me about your childhood. How did you grow up? What kind of a child you were? What kind of a household you were? So he's taking you back to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, in a sober way. Okay. Then from there, you guys will be sitting for an hour and you're just talking. All right. But he's kind of like helping you to recall certain things. So you are bringing memories to recollection. Okay. And then you go to a course where you are doing, for example, let's say anger management, and then you guys do exercise and say to you, how will you deal with this? How you deal with that? And suddenly it's funny, a memory will come, a scenario in your head where you suddenly see something or the truth of something from just the thing that you guys were talking from the other angle. It's not even connected to it, but it allows access of memories, of access of things, of feeling or emotions, because you are dealing with it, to surface so that you can see, no man, I have a problem with this.
Okay.
Let me make you a typical example, and that's what therapy also does. You guys know last week we were involved in an accident, and even from the scene of the accident, I kept on saying, I felt bad about what happened to the people who were in an accident with them. But I didn't have a name or an idea, what am I feeling? But I kept on feeling this thing. And everybody around me kept on saying, it was an accident, it was not your fault. But it didn't click to me, what is these people trying to tell me? And last week Tuesday I went to Grief Share. So we were doing a session about false guilt. And it's only in that section I realized I'm feeling false guilt. What is false guilt? False guilt is when you feel as if you are responsible for something that you didn't have even power over. So this one lady there makes an example that she had a younger sister and her sister drowned. Okay? And she died. She blamed herself for that. She was not even there.
Sure.
But when she had it, she felt responsible.
Yes, like if she was
Yes,
there.
if I was there, that's
Yeah.
false guilt. That's when you are feeling guilty about something that you didn't even have power to change it. Okay? And I realized in that moment that I feel guilty that we survived the accident. I feel guilty that I didn't get injured. And the other people felt injured. You see how your mental health can be when you have certain things
And these
that
are thoughts that you are having sometimes subconsciously.
Yes.
Because I feel
or
like
emotions. In this case, it was an emotion. Guilt is an emotion.
no, I feel like no, because I'm taking it back to you saying like, you know, we have thoughts like you were talking about journaling, and sometimes we have thoughts that become like mantras.
You make them true.
You know what I mean, guys? Like when you have like that thing where you have this one thought where you're like, I just never do anything right, you know, and
In therapy, they call it destructive belief.
exactly, and that
Well, we
becomes
believe
your mantra.
Things that are
right?
destructive to our well-being.
Exactly, and that becomes like your mantra, something you say to yourself over and over and over and over again, and it becomes like this huge tree in your life.
But it becomes also a belief system.
Aha.
Yes.
It's like the
Yeah.
core of who
Yeah,
you are.
we also
Yeah.
call it in
Yes.
therapy, they call it core belief.
Yes.
There's things that we have, they are core belief, but they are not the truth.
Well, you know why I'm saying
But the
this,
truth-
ne? I think it's so funny. She went into, for me, I think it's so funny. She went into the hospital with an idea she's gonna speak about her dad.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
guys what I'm trying to
Came
say,
out
ne?
unpacking
And
all
she
this.
came out unpacking
Yes.
her childhood.
Yes.
Like, I just want to say that because, like,
But
by the
again-
time you get to a point where you're not fine,
But
it's
again,
a long journey.
But again, I want to go back to, you must remember, it's important to remember God says, you have not been fine too long.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
he said to me, that your father, because I lost both my father and my father-in-law, and I thought I was feeling the weight of losing both people at the same time. But he said to me, when God spoke to me, he said, you have not been fine too long. This situation you find yourself, it unfazed. It kind of like brought, yes, it brought the issue to the surface.
Sure.
But the issue was there for too long. So when I opened myself, when I went now, I was now present. When I go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I was listening to how am I feeling when I talk about certain issues. Does it make sense now? Because I realized what I thought was my problem, which I didn't have, but it was my problem. It was not it. What is exactly that I have been sick with for this long? So that's just I started opening myself up to say, what is the issue here? What's going on? So I was now getting, because I had to accept there's an issue. So I was getting to the deep root of the issue so that I can get my healing. You see? So it's important to remove honest healing in any form, be it body healing or what, is to be so truthful to self. It doesn't help you being in denial. It's like we meet somebody who's got cancer symptoms. The doctor gave them the diagnosis. They said, you have cancer, and they leave the office and say, I don't have cancer. It's a lie. You understand? They're not going to get a treatment. They're not going to look at anything that the doctor suggests because they don't believe that they do have cancer. It's the same with mental health.
For our last question, if someone listening right now is quietly saying, I'm fine, but knows they're not, what would you want them to hear today?
It's okay not to be okay. It is. It's okay not to be okay. I do not know who lied to us that we always have to be okay or fine. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay. And it's a starting point. It's a starting point for a beautiful journey. I can tell you, I look at my healing journey. No, I've not arrived, but so far, the few steps I've taken towards my healing have been so freeing. So freeing because I don't have to be in control of anything. Even my own well-being, even life. I don't have to be in control of anything because it's okay to not be okay. And it's the first step. Okay? So there's no shame in that. There is strength. I can tell you that much. There's strength in saying I am not okay. Because you will get an encouragement. It's the same that I went to the support group, and immediately when I saw the guilt thing, you know what my group did? They surrounded me and they prayed over me. And I broke down and I cried. But there was relief. There was a relief to, I could breathe. Because now I spoke about it. It came to the light. And admitted I'm not okay. I'm feeling this guilt. And they were okay to say, it's false. It was an accident. And now, because I admitted I'm not okay, I was able to accept when they say it was an accident. But before, when I said I'm okay, I'm fine, I was not hearing when people say, Dorah, it's an accident. I was not hearing, because I cannot accept something if I don't have an issue. But I will say that over and over, if you are listening to this today, it's okay not to be okay. I don't know, we live in a world where we are so, we want to come out of the world as if we got it. We don't have a manual on life. No one is. No one is. And we don't even know how anything's going to affect us. We may think we know, but we don't know until we are in that moment and we are experiencing something and realizing, no, it doesn't feel okay. And it's okay to say,
Sure. Well, thank you so much. Before we finish, we just wanted to remind you that if you or someone you know and love is struggling with their mental health, please reach out for help to a psychiatrist or therapist. You do not have to go through it alone. And just a very special thank you once again to our first and amazing guest, Dorah Matsetela. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your vulnerability with us today. Yes, please do let us know if there is anything that, anywhere where our fans can probably come and listen to you, or if we could hear
something
more.
interesting under the covers.
yes, do you have something that ladies and people that they work with us every Sundays, but they will have a big conference in October. In October, they do wellness, they call it wellness. So they deal with a bit of mental health, they deal with cancer, they have ladies who have cancer survival. So when they say wellness, they mean wellness as
In
a
every
whole.
sector.
They look at things from every angle of a woman's health and wellness of women and women's issues. So that we are amazing things in Pretoria. So for me, more than ever, it will be in places where we can make people realize that mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. And any way, I will let you know, and you can tell the viewers if we have something that is coming. You guys can announce that there will be this special event that is happening with mental health, and people can come and learn more about mental health.
Yes, please guys, we will put it in our description and definitely
Or
post it on
Instagram even.
Yes, but as for now, thank you so much, guys, for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and to share this podcast episode with the incredible people in your life. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk About It. Until next time, bye.
Bye.